If you learn this one concept, I promise your MMR will go up, no matter your role, your hero or your bracket. If you have watched any educational video or coaching session on YouTube, you've probably heard about pushing waves or pushing lanes. This is a concept well known in Dota already, but I feel like a lot of the reasons why it's important are overlooked or not understood. In today's video, I will cover why pushing waves is important, how to abuse that, and eventually how it's literally the best tool to gain MMR reliably, no matter the position. First of all, let's explain what pushing waves means and list the things it does for your team. Pushing waves means you are killing the enemy creep wave that is coming to you. You can do it by simply last hitting it, but also by creating momentum. If you use a nuke, the enemy creeps will be low and your creeps will kill the wave. Any kind of help will do, even healing your own creep wave can lead to creating that momentum, and that way, pushing the wave. As you can see, every hero in Dota can push waves, as it doesn't have to mean you're the one getting gold. Even using Solar Crest on your creep can do the work. Okay, but what does it do? The list is quite long. First of all, it obviously gives gold. If you get the last hit on the wave, you get the gold. It also forces enemies to show, as if the wave gets under their tower and the tower gets the last hits, the gold will be wasted, so they have to react. Then, it also leads to both map pressure and tower pressure. If your creeps finally start attacking the tower, eventually they can destroy it. These are the most important things. However, this is only what it creates, but using the things that are created is yet another thing. What does it mean? Well, if you get the gold from waves, you get to buy items. If you force enemies to show on the map, you can kill them, or you get information on where they are. If you created tower pressure, you can safely siege it. As you can see, a very simple thing as manipulating where the creeps meet can lead to many good plays. With that in mind, let's see examples of how pushing waves can be used in order to have a better game. So the first example is in the laning stage. Pushing the lane allows you to safely pull the camp. While usually pulling is a result of the lane being pushed, sometimes it's actually the other way around. You want to pull the lane to kill the small camp creeps, get more gold and experience, but without pushing the wave, you risk getting enemy creeps under the tower and your carry missing last hits. If you are a strong lane, and you would like to get more gold without guarantees that you actually kill enemies, pushing the wave and pulling every minute is a great strategy. Pushing the lane around the catapult wave can lead you to getting tower pressure that you would not have, especially early on. Sometimes the goal is to push the tower, and in other cases, you can safely dive enemy towers without drawing creep aggro. In most cases, it's both. But if you create that sort of pressure and the enemy knows that he can get killed, they are likely to let you push, as they don't want to feed. Pushing the wave allows the mid laner to take the rune. In the early stages of the game, if you have a hero that has a good nuke, it forces enemy mid laner to make a decision. Either he misses the rune or likely some creeps to the tower. Later on, it sets up as something that I'm big fan of. Push the lane, grab the rune, and then smoke. The pushed mid wave will usually make enemies react to it, and that would be the best and easiest target to snipe enemy heroes. However, as we all know, Dota isn't always the same. Sometimes, the smoke can be towards the enemy other lanes or triangle. After all, if a hero shows on mid, perhaps even with a TP, it means he's not in another place, and you can smoke there. It also allows you to relieve pressure while playing a weaker hero. If you're a support, or generally a weaker hero than the enemy, you don't want to have any kind of momentum created under your tower. Pushing out lanes quickly not only gives you gold, but also makes it so enemies aren't able to stand on the lane and slowly harass you to death. If you did in fact force enemies to react, you can use that as a chance to create a good play on another lane, depending on how important the enemy that does not have TP is. You can also use the fact that enemies aren't bots and they all understand the logic behind pushing waves as well. If you manage to create momentum somewhere, even if enemies aren't there yet, it makes a great chance for you to smoke and get a kill on enemy heroes, as they are very likely to react. If they don't, and your creeps are hitting the tower, well, you're happy with that as well. However, if they react and you kill a target, it gives you two options. Option number 1, you just get a kill, enemies call it a day, and they just let you push the tower, as you grouped up some heroes. Great. Another option is they will react by TPing, and knowing how TP scrolls work, they will show one by one, and that way, even if you use some spells before, you're likely to win the fight and get even more kills, even if you will have to give up pushing. As you can see, either scenario, if executed properly, is good for you. Yo, and by the way, let me get this straight. If you want to smoke up and have any resemblance of being sneaky, you are supposed to push the waves first, at least one of them. If all three waves are pushing into your base and nobody is defending, you couldn't be more obvious with the smoke. For the support players, if a wave is pushing into your tower, but your team is strong, let's say they have their timings, it's usually your job to push out lanes that are pushing on the opposite side of the map. This is exact scenario where your hero matters. If your team is on the enemy side of the map, you want to push out waves and then possibly quickly connect to your team. The last thing you want to do is sit somewhere for a long time, just because you have a hero that does not push waves. Here, you can see the exact reason how you're supposed to play with a greedy support. Fix lanes after you get a kill. And here, you can see it work again. Pushing lanes as support is important not only because you allow your strong cores to play on the map, but also due to the fact that your value is kinda low, as you can be either not worth trying to kill for enemies, but also, even if you die, it's still likely fine. You traded enemies' time for some last hits, relieved pressure, and your life. As long as your team is being efficient or kills a target on the other side of the map, it's probably a good play. As soon as the fight ends, you are supposed to get objectives and push out lanes, so it gives you more map control and allows you to close enemies on their side of the map. Now, if a fight ends like this, so you've killed all the enemies, the priority is to get objectives. However, if you're playing a hero that doesn't really threaten them, so usually a support, or you know your team has enough heroes to get that tower or Roshan, the other best thing you can do is push waves. As I said, this is a great map control tool, and nothing feels worse than respawning into having no vision, no map control, and no idea what to do next. And this is an example of how pushing waves can lead to you getting objectives. By going top, I force enemy Viper to TP there and fix the lane, and that way my team knows we can get rush. Granted, enemies probably wouldn't be able to contest us anyway, but on the other hand, in the previous fight we used all the ultimates, and my Shaker, Sand King and Lich don't have them, so it's not that clear if we would be able to grab it. Thanks to Hoodwink pushing out top, we know that enemies aren't able to be S5, and that way we are able to go for rush. Being dedicated to pushing on lanes means you will end up being very rich, while still maintaining your support role. This is how most of the good players end up being rich. Not AFK farming, but actively trying to create map pressure and capitalizing on that. This is what peak support performance looks like. Pushing waves in Dota is probably the single most impactful thing you can learn to abuse to gain free MMR, no matter the role. You can see in the video how it creates various ways to get you rich, kill enemies, or destroy towers. Learning how to push waves effectively is probably the thing that separates high-rank players from others the most. And if you want to learn how to be a better player, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on any other Dota concept, and as always, see you!